Yo everybody, what's up? Cygnus here, and today we're going to do a little review on my experience with Avalonian Dungeons. Now, what are Avalonian Dungeons? Well, they're basically 20-man raids that give you a nifty week-long 10% fame buff, with a bunch of sick XP and loot as well. So the other day, a buddy of mine told me about these special dungeons called Avalonians, or Elite Random Dungeons. They're not so random, you can buy maps for them or use smaller maps to combine them into Avalonian or epic dungeons. Our guild runs them regularly, so I signed up for one. I signed up as an off tank so I could spec up a little bit for ZVZ, because I play Grove Keeper in ZVZ and it's a lot of fun, but I need to get my tank spec up, so I figured, alright, well, I'll go as an off tank, it's fine. So first things first, I can't even wear tier 8. Fast forward to raid day, I didn't have time to run my gear out there all the way from Bridgewatch, so I had to buy everything from Arthur's Rest like extremely last minute. I obviously wasn't going to buy 7.3 because that's hella expensive, especially out there in the Black Zone, so I figured 7.2 is probably enough. I plan to use one-handed mace to tank. That's kind of what I'm comfortable with. I usually grab a lower tier Incubus base for the bosses. I swap out as we go, because I have no problem tanking tier 8, random group dungeons. That's fine. I have no issue with that with my current spec. Our leader wanted me to use an Incubus mace. I agree the E is way better, even for the trash in Avalonians, because they have so much health. However, that'll set me back to around 1250 IP, which that's our group minimum for Avalonians. We get everyone together, and our leader asks us how many of us have never done an Avalonian. 6 people respond in the chat. So we're already off to a great start. A fourth of our group has never done this extremely hard Avalonian, but everybody else was really confident, so we could do a T8, no problem, it's fine. It's only one of the hardest dungeons in the game. Easy. The whole reason I was there was for the 10% fame buff, which I found out later that you can get from a T6. So we pop the map and get to the dungeon, and on the first pull, I'm already fumbling around as an off tank. I'm not used to having to share my taunts or any abilities with somebody else. I have no idea what the mobs' names are or what abilities they do or how much I'm really supposed to be doing as an off tank. I thought maybe, I'm just here as maybe to grab one mob off of the main tank, which I found out later was kind of wrong. I'm still not sure how I'm supposed to off tank in an Avalonian. We'll get there. I do plan to do Avalonians again. Just, I need to educate myself a little bit further on them. I shouldn't have went in completely blind like I did. This is no fault on our leader. It is 100% fault on me. So anyway, I ended up letting our tank die multiple times because I wasn't grabbing enough mobs off of him. I didn't know which ones he wanted to tank and which ones I should tank. Like I said, it's pretty much lack of understanding on my part. There was one thing though that really bothered me about the entire experience. The trash seemed way more difficult than the actual bosses. It was impossible to keep aggro on some of the mobs, and some of them were running all around and knocking everybody on all over the place. Now I know you're supposed to, stand in a corner and against a wall so that when you get knocked back, it doesn't knock you into, the next pull that you have to do. So I understand that there's strategies around that, but you gotta remember how many of us didn't really know what to do. We had trouble positioning some of these trash mobs, as you can expect. The bosses, on the other hand, were not bad at all. The mechanics were very straightforward. The guys explained them extremely well to us, and most of the abilities were extremely obvious. It's like, oh, he's blocking on this side of him, we better run around behind him. Now we're supposed to line of sight his ability, better get behind a pillar. Very, very straightforward, little to deal with. The bosses were easy. That was the fun part, I thought, of the raid. The trash was fucking nightmarish. So I'm not new to raids. I've played WoW since BC. I've raided in WoW. I've done plenty of endgame content there. I know how raids are supposed to be. I've dealt with nightmarish trash. Yeah, I understand it. This kind of felt like it was a next level, or there wasn't meant to be 2 tanks in this dungeon. It didn't feel like we had control the entire time until it came to the bosses. The full raid ended up taking around 4 hours, but the fame was pretty worth it. I ended up hitting almost level 100 on all my plate armor, so I'll be able to actually wear T8 the next time we go out. I haven't had a chance to use the fame buff to its full extent because I haven't been able to actually play the game. I've been busy recording and doing other stuff, real life, etc, etc. Today, actually, I have like 19 hours left on the fame buff, so I plan to, after I record this right now, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna tank some T8 Black Zone group dungeons. So hopefully we get to use that 10% buff to my advantage finally. Next time I'm probably just gonna end up trying to do a T6 just so that I can get the fame buff, because I don't really play, it took us 4 hours. I don't have that time to commit to anything for like 4 hours anymore, especially sitting in the same dungeon dying to trash over and over again. The next time I also think I'm going to do a lower tier one because I ended up losing a couple million silver in repairs, and if I were to be earning fame credits in there with the 10% buff, it would definitely be a hit on my silver, you know? And I'm not the best at making money. Check out these other videos. Lol. Anyways, that was my first quick thought on Avalonian Dungeons and what my first experience with them was. Thanks for hanging out a little bit, you guys. I wanted to end this video by reminding everybody about my Discord that's public to you guys now. You're more than welcome to join. I also need to give a shout out to my first ever Patreon sub, Houdini. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!